Though there's a lot of ideas about who stays and who goes in Kansas City, but right now, Trent McDuffie cannot be traded today on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Starting off strong and going out on a limb.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. That's where I'm at today, folks. Hope that you will stay with us for the rest of the show. Thanks for making us your first listen here, Locked On Chiefs, your daily podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network for your Kansas City Chiefs. And we can't thank you enough for being an everydayer. You guys make the world go round, and we have something special for you. If you want something a little more exclusive without audio ads, go check out the Everydayer Club as well. We are free and here for you every single day. We've been doing this a long time, approaching our 10th off season. Chris and I here. He is Chris Clark of KC Chiefs Corner. You can find his work over there. I'm Ryan Tracy. I run Rogue Analytics, where we do the athletic matrix and all of the production metrics that you need for the NFL draft. We get there through NFL 33, where we run down the entire league with the rest of my staff, and you can find even more on the Chiefs at RGR Football. We appreciate you checking out our other outlets because we have a lot to cover today. And obviously, Trent McDuffie is the star of this secondary. He has been for a bit, and there's a lot of other aspects to his game. The bottom line is, should the Chiefs try to extend him after the season he's coming off of? Do that now, or what are the other options? We were going to go there first. Then we come back, and if something had to be done, what would the value be? Is it worth considering trading Trent McDuffie for the value that we think that he's at? That's second, and then we will finish with the Fab Five, the guys that came in together that made the core of this secondary for the last 4 years. Are they about to break up? We're going to lay that all out for you today, and we start with the man himself. Trent McDuffie has been even better than I thought he would be. I, for one, was not concerned about his shorter arms coming out of the draft. I had projected him to be a nickel corner and get to an all-pro status, and guess what happened? Exactly that. This year was a little bit different. He wanted to go back outside. They felt that they could. I still think that was a glaring problem with this defense in allowing the primary nickelback to be Chamari Connor rather than Trent McDuffie. But the tail of the tape includes the outside corners that weren't necessarily up to par and ready to play. A lot of injuries there, a lot of other circumstances that led to it. So the question becomes, if his performance was a bit down this year, and a lot of people are going to point to the big wide receiver matchups, do you think that they should extend him right now? Do you think that's worth it coming off of this season?
What's he want? That's what it comes down to for me. If he wants to be a top 5 corner, then no. Like, that's reality. I'm sorry. I think he's a fantastic corner. I think that he's probably, I don't know. I would argue that he may be even better than what L'Jarius Sneed was for the Chiefs at times. Mm-hmm. But I still don't know that I'd pay him top 5 money. The problem that you run into with McDuffie is you're in a division that has already gone and got wide receivers to beat what he is best at, like that he can't do anything with. He can't guard some of the receivers in this division, and that doesn't even get you to a situation where you're talking about like a team like the Cincinnati Bengals, who the Chiefs were playing on a regular basis with 2 guys that he struggles with too because of size. Like, it's an issue, and I don't know that you would pay him do you want to give him 20-25 million a year?
I think 25 is about my cap. I could be twisted just a little bit maybe, but approaching the 30 thing, I don't think that it's there. And I think you also have to guard yourself against the fact that what is not, I think, a week-to-week weakness, but there are definitely matchups that he is at a disadvantage in that I think the rest of the league has now secured and understands and are going to just hammer on for the foreseeable future. I think that makes his life harder, to be honest.
Especially if the Chiefs get a deal done with him before the draft this year. If the Chiefs do that, they're signaling to the rest of the AFC West, hey, we're going to have this weakness, and he's going to be in our secondary, and you know how you can exploit it. Now, I'm not saying that he is a bad corner. He is fantastic. I want to be absolutely clear on that. He is a great corner. But if he wants top 5 money, it's 24 million plus. And that's the market for corners right now. I'm sitting here looking at it in 2020 for the contracts that were signed.
Mm-hmm.
Sauce Gardner, $30.1 million. Derek Stingley, $30 million. J.C. Horn, $25 million. Jaylen Ramsey, $24.1. Patrick Surtain II, $24. Those are your top 5.
Yep.
And you can make an argument that all of those guys got deals that aren't really real because of how they were structured.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to be an argument I don't think that you're going to be able to have with his agent. I don't think if he wants top 5 money, you're going to be having to pay him over $25 million a year to get him to top 5 money. Not to mention it's top 5 money, but you also have to look at it with the aspect of what is the growth in cap from 2025 to 2026, because they're going to take that into account as well.
Sure, absolutely. And the numbers vary at this point, folks. And until we know, we won't know. So let me ask you this. What would it take to get him into the top 10?
Top 10 for corner. Bottom of the top 10 for corner. Sorry, I had to look and make sure. Is 19.4.
Okay. So somewhere between 20 and 24, 25 is the range that we're talking about. I do think you could call him a top 10 corner. I don't think you should push him into the top 5 or be right. I mean, I can handle 6, but I think that's very iffy. So for me, my thought is that, especially given the conversation that we had yesterday about what you could do if Chris Jones is traded from this roster and you have some of that cap to spend, I think the wiser investment is in the younger player. I think that is true 9 times out of 10 in this league. So from my point of view, I would work to extend him now. I wouldn't do the tag thing next year. I wouldn't rely on that. I personally would try to extend him in that range of 20 to 25.
So let me throw a curveball at you that I just thought of. Would you rather have McDuffie at 25, or what if you could get Jaylen Watson for 13?
Yes and yes.
You want them both?
I do want them both. And we're going to talk about it here in a minute, but the very minimum is you have to have one of them.
Right.
Very minimum.
And I don't necessarily disagree with that, but my point is I don't think you can have both. I don't think you can pay $28 million to 2 corners on this roster, especially considering you already have Christian Fulton, who's going to have dead money when they cut him.
If they cut him.
If they don't, then you're at 35. Then you're closer to 35 to 40 million at your corner position, which I guess you can do, but only if you trade Chris Jones. Like, there's no way you can go that direction and not trade Chris Jones. Like, you're just not going to be able to. You're already, like I said, we've had this conversation. They're already 60 million over the cap, the projected cap that we have right now. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, that's subject to change if the cap comes in higher. Could be a lot different number. They have some rollover space that'll take into it that will probably lower that as well. So I do think that there is a possibility that it's closer to 50, but you still have to do something with Patrick Mahomes. We don't know what they're going to do there. And Chris Jones is 45. You can't pay Chris Jones 40. You can't have him at 45 million on your salary cap. So I don't know what you're going to do. I would like to have one or the other. I agree with you on that. But if you can get Watson for 13, I don't think you pay McDuffie for 25.
That's the question. And we're going to talk about the rest of the Fab Five and whether that valuation is correct, because I don't necessarily agree with that number, but a lot may. So what is the next step forward? Trent McDuffie has to be the focus because he's the first and the largest domino to fall. So if you decide you have to go away from that, what does his trade value look like? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's going to start with a number that everyone would like to see be a 1, but that may not be reality. That's next. Hey guys, the draft picks are in. They're set for so many teams. They're looking for a franchise quarterback. If you ever wish to become a QB yourself, getting drafted first overall by the Chiefs, or like this year, the actual Raiders, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you. ultimate QB football legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of number one draft pick. It's your job to lead your team to greatness. The number one career mode game on mobile app stores, and it introduces the most realistic environment for a full career control. You sign contracts, train, upgrade yourself, build chemistry, and evolve with your teammates. Give input to your GM on roster moves, play the actual games in 2D, and rise up the ranks to become a pro football legend. Ultimate QB is totally free. There's no ads. It works 100% offline. Perfect for you want to sneak a quick game in or two on the go. Just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search Ultimate QB in your favorite app store. We've got something special for you guys. Use the promo code LOCKEDON in all caps in the game store, and you'll get a free boost to start your career at Ultimate QB, the football legend QB1. It's your leg. As the new year gets going and a lot of people try to simplify their routines, dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, and packed schedules, having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. And that's where Home Chef comes in. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes and actually tastes great. They're rated number one by the users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease, and it's easy to see why. Meals come ready to fit your schedule. There are 30-minute recipes, oven-ready trays, or even quick lunches. Over 30 options a week for including family-sized meals, as well as some of the smaller, quicker options for your dietary choices. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off of your first box with free shipping and free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off of your first box, plus free shipping, plus free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. There's a lot that goes into trying to determine how you can move forward. What a player wants, what a player needs salary-wise, that certainly is part of the equation. But on the flip side of that coin is what the value you could get in return is. And unlike our conversation yesterday, finding a spot to trade a top 10 cornerback is a heck of a lot easier than finding people to spend the money on a aging but top 5 defensive tackle. I can name 12 teams right now that need cornerback help. That, I think, is a feather in the cap of the folks that want to go to the trade side, because I think there's more opportunity there. We saw Sauce Gardner on a team that was trying to make a run, and I do think that influenced the value they were willing to give up, pull a pair of first-round picks. Now, I think Trent McDuffie is worth a first-round pick in exchange, plus a little bit. I could see a team with a high 2 trying to package multiple picks to try to make an offer for him. And I don't think the Chiefs would take that. I don't think they should. But that could be in the realm of possibility as well. My question to you is, where do you think McDuffie's trade value is in terms of draft capital? And would a trade of a pick similar to the position that he was drafted in do it for you?
I think that it could be. And I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a cop-out, but again, it depends on how you build your entire roster. I mean, none of this is done in a vacuum. So it's a question of, do you trade Chris Jones? Do you think Mahomes is going to play? Like, all of that comes into what I think I'm going to do with McDuffie's situation. Last year, as things were going into March, the thought was there's no way Trey Smith is going to be back in Kansas City, because they thought that there was no way the salary cap was going to be enough to where they thought they could afford Trey Smith under their salary cap. And that is going to also play into this. What does the salary cap end up? The teams will know before free agency kicks off. And if they get a deal done with McDuffie, I would imagine they've already got a pretty good idea of where the salary cap is going to be. And when you start talking about his trade value, it becomes, I would take a top 20 pick. Are you going to be able to replace him with the top 20 pick? Probably not. But could you get a guy that is going to step in and maybe give you the ability to get after the passer, which makes the corner job a little bit easier and maybe makes it a little bit easier for the Chiefs to feel like they could sign a guy like Jaylen Watson to an extension? I could see that. I mean, there's lots of different ways to go. The question is what do you think the team is going to, or, where does the team think they're going to be in 26 and where do they think they're going to be in the future? Because if you don't think Mahomes is going to play, it changes what you want to do with McDuffie. And as far as the value of McDuffie, it depends on the team. Because as I said in the first segment, the biggest thing with McDuffie is his lack of height and his arm length. He can't make up for the taller wide receivers he's going to go against. So while he does have more suitors than a guy like Chris Jones, who's an aging veteran, he will be limited to an extent, because you're probably not going to think that you can feel good about sending him to, just as a quick example, the AFC North, because then you'd be going up against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and you have DK Metcalf in that division. Like, that's just not a good division for him. So it's going to limit where he could go and be as effective as you would hope.
If they see him as a true outside corner, if they see him as a nickel, it's the same situation as he is in Kansas City. So it depends on what they're looking for. I look at teams.
Do you see him as a nickel
positions? I think he's an all-pro nickel. Yes.
Okay.
And
then
I think
there's no way he's getting paid 25 million.
I disagree with that.
Okay. Well,
all the top five are outside guys, right?
Yeah.
That changes in the top 10, does it not?
When we look at the top 10, you have so top 5 are Gardner, Stingley, Horn, Ramsey, and Surtain, and then Deron Bland, AJ Terrell, Denzel Ward, Marlon Humphrey, and Marshawn Lattimore.
Mostly still outside corners. So
yep,
it depends on where you get to. I look at teams and where they are relative to draft position. I look at teams like, as you mentioned, Cowboys probably don't need a corner, although they just let Trayvon Diggs go. So you never know. The Steelers are in 21st position. They probably do need a number of DBs. One at nickel or corner would certainly work. Teams like Philly at 23. You could even go upward. I think they need corners in Minnesota at 18. So I'm looking at relative to where he was drafted, what would you need to get? And I would need one of those picks plus probably either a lower end second or third in order to secure a trade like that, because I think you err on the side of caution and age, and you extend a player in this situation rather than trade him away. Because I think while Sauce Gardner might get 2 1s because a team really wants to try to get to a postseason, so much so that they'll bring Phillip Rivers back from the dead, quite literally. And I think that has shifted the whole landscape of what corner value is.
It's going to be interesting. The Sauce Gardner thing is even more interesting because the Jets literally signed him to a contract right before they traded him. And because of how they structured the contract, they were able to do it without killing their cap. So that was also interesting. So that'll be something to watch if the Chiefs do get an extension done with McDuffie, is what type of deal does he get done? Is it something that is along the lines of Sauce Gardner? Because then you could be seeing McDuffie moved in the future as well. So to me, I do think that I would love to get a first round pick for Trent McDuffie. I think that's possible that you could get a first round pick for him. I don't know how much more you're going to get, because the other part of the reality is one of the reasons Sauce Gardner was traded for 2 first round picks is because they already knew the value of the contract. Trent McDuffie isn't under contract. You're going to have to do a trade with draft picks, and you're going to have to give him compensation. So unless the Chiefs get him under contract long term and then trade him, which I can't see happening, it's a question mark what he's going to be asking for, and that is also going to play into where he can go.
He's not the only one that is not under contract. The rest of his draft class is in that same situation. And folks, I'm sorry to say, we're about to witness the breakup of the Fab Five. That's next. NFL season is in full swing, and there's nothing like being at the game. The crowd noise, the energy, and the cheering alongside the other fans. Watching at home is great, but being in the stadium hits different. It's frustrating sometimes with all the waiting in lines, the dealing with logins, and watching prices change right at checkout. That's why the Game Time app gives you the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing NFL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. I use it all the time, and my favorite aspect of it is when you go in, you're able to see the view from the seat. It makes a world of difference to know what you're going to be looking at before you do. That way, There are no surprises. There's a ton of deals out there, and you can even get them in the zones that you are looking for most of all. So take the guesswork out of buying your NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just create the account, redeem that code LOCKEDONNFL, and you're going to get $20 off. Download the Game Time app today and get back to being there live. Wildcard round is almost over, and we are ready to move on to the second round. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game, FanDuel gives users a way to get a profit boost pack waiting for them right inside the app. Each game day, you go see a pack with multiple profit boosts that you can apply to your bets anytime you want. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day, and you'll see what boost that you have available to apply. The boost can let you lean into game day instincts, whether you're backing and looking and trying to ride momentum, or the defense, or the quarterback play, or exactly what the coaches are going to do, because they just don't really like each other. There's a lot that goes on. You can make your picks and apply your profit boost to get even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost on every NFL playoff game day. Folks, make sure that if you're interested in the Everydayer Club, where you can get all kinds of bonus content that is uncut without ads, you want to check that out. Everydayer Club is where our everydayers hang out, and it does make
and on Discord.
The Discord is the biggest thing. In my opinion, it creates a community of other Locked On fans. We appreciate it if you check it out, see what you think. And while you're in there, stop me if you've heard these names. Trent McDuffie is easily the headliner of this draft class. He is going to be on a 5th-year extension. That takes that part of the question mark out, but it doesn't for everyone else. Pick number 62, Brian Cook, also in that secondary. Pick number 135, Joshua Williams, also in that secondary. Pick 243, Jaylen Watson in that secondary, and Najee Johnson at 259. That is your Fab Five. And unfortunately, most of them are going to be departing this team. Now, valuation is what's most important here. Whether McDuffie is extended or traded, or he just plays out this 5th year, what happens next is about value at this position, in my opinion. They invested in Noel Williams. I think he showed enough that he will be on the field. They've made a monetary investment in Fulton, who started to come on at the end. I can't explain why it took that long, but it did. And so you can see a trio with Trent McDuffie on board of what your starters might look like. But if any one of those things doesn't happen, who's the next guy up that you have to have?
I would think that you would have to have Jaylen Watson. I mean, you look at this, and it's just a matter of there's no way Josh Williams is back. Okay, let me be clear. I guess Williams could be back if he wants to come back on like a $2 million or $3 million a year deal and play special teams. Like that's about his. That's about what I think that he will get. Would get from this team. Past that, Najee Johnson hasn't shown that he can stay healthy, so can't see him back. And I think Brian Cook is going to be priced out of Kansas City. Cook, according to Spotrac, as I'm looking at right now, Cook has a valuation of 14.3 a year. Jaylen Watson is at 12.6. That is where they're saying that they would be valued, and I can't see Cook being paid that in Kansas City.
Some people will call him a top 10 safety. Some teams.
Okay, maybe. For this team, I didn't see it. A top 10 safety to me would be somebody that's making plays. Like you didn't see him a ton, which in some ways is great for a safety. But do you want to call him a top 10 safety when he's not intercepting the ball and he's not?
That's the thing.
Like
the ball production is not there.
Right. So to me, I can't see paying him $14 million. I can't see paying him $10 million. I don't think the Chiefs value that position as much as maybe they should value that position. And the safety play is going to be a whole new conversation that we're going to have because the two that they have right now, I don't know what they're going to do with. But I can't see Cook back. I think Jaylen Watson makes sense. But here's my question to you that I will pose. What do you think the percentage chance is that you have none of the Fab Five back in playing for the Chiefs in 2026?
0. I think at an absolute minimum, they will have either Trent McDuffie or Jaylen Watson. I think that is a must-have. I personally feel like Cook may be a little bit more likely to return than Jaylen Watson is. If the Chiefs extend or allow Trent McDuffie to just play out this fifth-year option, they have Fulton and Noel Williams under contract. They may just draft for backups and let Brian Cook run that secondary for another couple of years.
And if they do that, I'm going to be very pissed because they're going to continue to play Chamari Connor at safety, and it's going to be Cook and Connor, and those two shouldn't be starting next to each other.
Well, if that scenario works out, it would be Fulton and Williams on the outside, and McDuffie would take that nickel. That might alleviate your pain, my friend.
No, I don't think so. Not the Connor shouldn't be starting over Hicks. Hicks needs to be on the field. Period.
I agree. He needs to be on the field.
He needs to be a starter and on the field. So to me, I think that you're in a situation where I can't see them paying Cook mainly because I think the cost is going to be prohibitive. Unless the valuation is way off and he's willing to play for, I don't know, $6, $7, $8 million a year. I just can't imagine that there's not going to be somebody that's going to be willing to throw more money at him than that. Yeah. Just because his starting safety is worth more than that. But I
feel like the Steelers are going to come calling for him.
Well, but his value isn't 15 or close to 15, in my opinion. Yeah. Especially not
ball
to this
production is the concern. I would like to see if they are going to move forward. Chamari Connor has proven to be a space player in my mind solely. Man-to-man coverage is not something I want to see him anymore. I would play Hicks over him. I would play CRW as a high safety over anybody in this secondary.
Let me ask this question, though. To me, when I look at what they did when they brought in Justin Reed, they brought in Justin Reed not for ball production, but because of the leader he was and because he fit what they wanted. I can't see them paying a guy like Cook. I haven't seen the leadership from Cook that I saw from Justin Reed on a regular basis.
That's true, but Justin Reed came here on his second contract. He was a mature player at that point. I thought we saw Brian Cook take a step forward in his performance, and he could be a guy that ascends into that role on a second contract as well.
Yeah, but I think Reed was a little bit more vocal before he came here.
True. Ask the Bengals.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's that. When you look at this, I just don't think that you can be in a situation where you bring back Brian Cook with the rest of the salary cap situations that you have right now that you're trying to figure out. I mean, if you trade McDuffie, if you trade Chris Jones, I guess maybe you can bring back Brian Cook, but at that point, why would you do that? Because you're going to be basically rebuilding the entire defense in some way, shape, or form.
There's a good group of safeties in this draft as well, so I think that is a factor. But I think two of the three of Trent McDuffie, Brian Cook, and Jaylen Watson are going to be on this roster.
You think two of the three are going to be on the roster?
I think in 2026.
We will see if that shapes out. I'll be very curious to see if that shapes out because that is going to be very costly if that shapes out that way.
Yeah, it may be, but we're going to find out what the Chiefs' priorities are. What are your priorities? Leave us your comments here down on YouTube in the comments there. I'd love to see them. Even if you disagree, especially if you disagree with me. Let me know what you think because Chris would like more compatriots to give me static and tell me I'm wrong. So we appreciate you guys being with us. Thank you for you everydayers that are here with us over and over and over. Nothing stops around here. Do not forget it. We are with you. Enjoy your second weekend of NFL playoffs. I know it's tough, but enjoy the couch. Have a beverage. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening today, and we'll talk to you then.